So this is problem number 42, chapter 8. Arrange the bonds in each of the following sets in order of increasing polarity. So I wrote them out here for letter A, and then I wrote them out here for letter B, and I wrote them out here for letter C, because now we can go back and we can take a look at the electronegativity table, because what we want to know is the difference in electronegativity between each of these atoms. The difference in math class means subtraction, and so we want to find the numerical difference between carbon and fluorine. So fluorine's 4 and carbon's 2.5, so that means we have a 1.5 difference. And the larger the difference, the more polar or more polarized the bond it happens to be. Oxygen and fluorine are 3.5 and 4, so that's 0.5. And then Be, way over here, 1.5, and fluorine is 4.0. So we have a difference of 2.5. And so it wanted us to put them in order. So this would be OF would be our least polar, CF would be our medium polar, and BEF would be our most polar bond for letter A. For the second one, if you didn't have the electronegativity tables, you could still answer this because you just look at the distance they are apart on the periodic table, and you can see that fluorine and beryllium are really far apart, and so they're going to have a really strong polar bond. Whereas O and F, they're right next to each other, so they're not going to have very much electronegativity difference. And then C and F, those are kind of the middle. So let's see if we can answer this next one without looking too much at this table, but just using a regular periodic table too. So O and Cl, they're not too far apart, and so that'd be kind of, we can calculate it here, it's 0.5. And then S and Br are like right kitty corner from each other. Notice how that's only like 0.3 difference. And then C and P, carbon and fluorine, well, that one's really tricky too, 2.5 and 2.1, so that's 0.4. So this one would be hard to do without this chart just because they're so close together, but we can see that our least electronegativity difference would be the SBr, our next least would be the CP, and then our most polar bond would be the OCl bond. And then the last one down here, carbon and sulfur, the difference would be 0.5. And then boron and fluorine. Well, boron's quite a ways away from fluorine, so that's a total of 2. And then nitrogen and oxygen, they're right next to each other, so we have 0.5 again. So we actually have kind of a, let's see, carbon. So yeah, we kind of have a match. So I guess you could pick carbon and sulfur are equal to N and O, which of course are much less polar than the B to the F bond right here. So using the table of electronegativities right here, you can find the difference between the two atoms, look at the distance apart on the periodic table, and then you can figure out how polarized the various bonds are.